here we are at Gnasty Gnorc, the final, almost end of the game for 120%. You worked so hard to get up to this point, but don't throw it now because these quick kills on these thieves are not easy. You want to chase that guy straight through like that, bring him back a little bit. Let's talk about that, dude. Normally, you can just jump off this little ledge right here in order to get a non-aggro from him so you could quick kill him before he even starts running. In 120%, we opt to continue the charge here and flame him here, so that way we're further ahead in the room compared to doing a jump charge glide. The only thing you got to be careful is you don't bonk him right there because his hitbox is a little wide in that section, so just give it the littlest baby walk to give that key time to spawn before you keep pushing through. Now, the second thief right here also has a quick kill, which we don't do in this category so that we could be further in the room when we hit him. You can opt to push against the right side of the wall here and then turn to the left quickly as he runs the opposite direction than he does here. But again, we want to be further into the room as early as possible to collect the gems in 120%, so we kill him this way. If you do miss him on that first hit right there, you can easily hit him here in this corner area. He gives you plenty of room to catch up here. So as long as you understand the geometry of this area, you should be able to catch him no problem. If they are giving you trouble, just keep in mind there are those quick kills. If you want to see what those look like, check out an any% or vortex run of this game at a high level. Just cleaning up the gems here, I opt to, you want to flame this first. You can even clean up the gems on the left here first, but it's really no time difference. So long as you catch those gems falling out from the fireworks chest, that purple, so long as you catch it right as it's hitting the ground there, you're good. Now, Gnasty here, this first part of the obstacle course, all we're trying to do is collect all the gems quickly enough, briskly enough, so that we can catch Gnasty Gnorc before he shoots us with his little scepter, his little trident, little Poseidon laser blaster. And does a second lap if we're not careful. If we're not fast enough, he'll do a second lap around this obstacle course. That's obviously slow. That'll lose you about a minute. But if you're quick enough here, you should be able to catch him no problem. And when I say no problem, I mean it does take a little bit of practice to get this early kill, this one cycle kill on him. Practice this section a few times. If you're playing this, I want to say this, if you're playing this on console, get a free McBoot memory card so that way you can practice this section with the gems over and over. Back in my day, we used to actually play on rocks. We didn't even have PlayStations back in our day, or computers or emulators. We'd have to actually rub two rocks together and use a stick as a memory card. So it was a really different time in speedrunning, and now all the resources are there that if you're on emulator, definitely use save states to practice the stuff in this level. In 120%, having those gems there is really valuable. If you're playing with a memory card, obviously you'd have to quit game and reload the game. Look, I'm getting ahead of myself. So you basically get a flame charge jump on this big fucking Tyrannosaurus Rex. Notice how he pushed me off a little bit from the platform here. That's kind of clutch because sometimes he can push you all the way into the room a little bit, but that's neither here nor there. It doesn't matter too much, and the game takes away control from you there. Now, one thing I want to point out is look how high Gnasty jumps into the air at this point. This is a really big, kind of says a lot about the physics lore of this game, that actually Gnasty Gnorc doesn't apply by the same rules of physics that Spyro does. He actually can just fly whenever he wants. His animation doesn't even have to change. He continues running. I think that might be actually the trick to his steez, if you will. But without further ado, this is the biggest part of the level right here. This, guys, everything you've done in this run up to this point, you know, you've practiced your proxies, you learned the routes, you've been watching all the top runners, and you've been doing run after run after run. It all comes down to this moment right here. We're going to do a trick here called credit skip. I'm going to watch this in slow motion and walk you through exactly everything what's happening here. So first, I come up and I set up perfectly right on these two cracks right here. These three cracks where they all meet right here. Get my fucking mouse right where this shit is pointing. Now, you have to follow this crack because Gnasty has a little sphere of influence around him that if you get too close to him, he'll do a melee attack. But if you stay outside of that, he'll do his little green laser shot that he just did. So we want to follow this little sort of crack right here and be right on the edge of when he's going to do his melee attack. The reason we want to do that is because, as you'll see here, I'm setting up for a damage abuse. This damage abuse is going to allow me to perfectly walk out of the damage animation. See how that damage animation locks you in place? I'm holding up on my joystick here so that the timing works out perfectly along with Gnasty Gnorc's animation and my walk cycle, that I walk up in the same point in his animation every time. Now he's doing his pullback because he's about to do his melee attack, and we charge glide right into the center of him, slightly off right to the center of him. Keep watching here. And that causes a proxy. As it turns out, the roof of this room has no collision on it, so you can just simply glide around if you get a high enough proxy. Now, at this point, take a look at my face over here. Take a look at this. I mean, just look at that. That's how you know. That is really how you know that I'm talking serious business here and that I'm not fucking around. My face is literally my whole world record. Everything rides on this moment right here. So just wanted to point that out to you guys, how intense this shit gets. I know it might not look like much, but believe me, I am shitting my damn pants here. We're gliding around the out of bounds section. I choose to ride along the wall here, so that way I have a visual reference, but you could also fly directly out and then do a quick 180 to come back in. That's another option. You really have to kind of work out the sort of glide timing that you want to do when you do get out of bounds, but what I like to do is go, I like to go right when, whoa, where am I? I like to glide near the bottom. Take a look at this whole proxy one more time. I get the proxy slight off right to his center, and then I try to let out I cut off the glide so I'm nice and just barely above the roof here. If you're too high, that's more time you're going to spend in the air. That's like dead space where you're going to be like, well, do I turn now? Do I have enough height? And the height is very important here. So stay just above the roof here. Crank it in early if you so choose. And now at this point, there's some floor here and there's some floor here. We want to aim right about here, turning in very hard so that way we can flame Gnasty from underneath. Take a look at this. I pull back using the joystick. I pull back, and it takes a moment for Spyro to do the pullback animation. There's the pullback animation, and I'm just barely underneath the side of this. If you're too high, you will get caught by the edge and knocked down. But you're just barely high enough so that you're going to go underneath this while just barely pulling back. And once I get that pullback animation, I am already moving my joystick to the right so that way I can flame towards Gnasty. Let's watch the rest of this. And that flame, very preemptive. This is one thing I see a lot of newer players fuck up. Look at this flame back here. I'm just going to go back to here. Look at this flame. Right? I've literally flamed the damn floor at this point because only at that point will the flame go high and far enough to hit Gnasty, okay? So again, as a full recap of this, let's watch it in full speed and see what we're looking at. I'll give you guys the play-by-play at full speed here. All right, run up. Set up along the cracks. Get a damage abuse. Walk forward. Get off right proxy. Now we're sliding around the top of the fucking thing, and then we pull back flame, hit him, and then what this does is I know you think why the fuck are we doing all this? You just flamed him. Why don't you just flame him from on top? Well, I will have you know, Mr. Smarty Pants, that what I'm doing is flying into the lava right now. You can see Spyro takes a death right there in the lava, and that's important because look, I'm still getting those purple gems. Look at this. Look how Gnasty gives me 4 purple gems right there. And now I can't get those purple gems without flaming Gnasty, but when you flame Gnasty, the game takes control away from you. So when you're flying into the fucking lava after the game takes control away from you, you get the 4 purple gems, which is necessary for 120% completion. And meanwhile, I'm looking at my look up here. Look at this shit. I'm like shitting. I'm like, all right, yeah, we got to run on. This could be world record right here. Look at that. I'm like, and now notice this. So now the final thing I want to say about this trick is that I have a game over. And when you're in Twilight Harbor, you want to finish your death abuse route, however many death abuses you do in your route. The easy route is 2 death abuses, harder ones are 1 death abuse. Make sure that you end that level with 0 lives. Let me restate that. End Twilight Harbor with 0 lives. It's not a requirement to get credit skip, this trick that we're just watching here. It's not a requirement, but it will allow you to get a game over, which let's take a look at what happens when I get a game over. Here, I'm holding the start button, and now look where I am. I am perfectly, satisfyingly, exactly where I want to be to finish off the rest of the run, do Gnasty's loot, and finish off 120%. So that's why we do the game over there. If you don't get a game over there, you will spawn at the beginning of the Gnasty Gnorc level instead of here in the homeworld where you want to be. So that is why we do that. Again, obviously, it's not a huge time loss one way or the other, but basically that's what's going on with credit skip, and that's how the whole trick works, broken down. Again, the things, if you're practicing this trick and you're a newer player, some things I will just tell you to be careful for one more time. Let's watch this in slow motion. First of all, work on your proxy. Now, there's several different positions you can set up the death abuse from. Let me wait for this. I like to set up on those cracks, as I said. You can also set up where these 4 cracks meet. That's where Saboom does it if you want to try a different spot. You can also set up on the right-hand side. Technically, you could set up anywhere around his little, like, orb of when he's about to melee you, influence area, whatever you want to call it, aggro space. But find your setup. Work on the damage abuse here. You're holding up. And then, here's the thing. You think very carefully about when you're going to full hop. You need the fullest full hop and a clean charge glide in order to get this, okay? You walk forward, just give it the slightest bit of walk forward. Look how I walk forward for just a moment. Walk and then jump, okay? That's very important. Don't jump right away. Walk forward for just a little smidge and then jump. Holding forward, and now charge glide at the top of the jump. And notice I'm not perfectly on center with his boobs here. I'm actually slightly off right. That's going to get you a more consistent proxy, but if you go too far to the right, you will get launched off to the right, so be careful. So that's the proxy, right? And generally people will say the proxy is going to be the easier part of this trick. You'll find out your own kind of consistent way of getting it. But now the glide is the part that everyone has trouble with. Again, go low here underneath this roof. If you decide to follow the wall, as I do, take a tight turn like I do. Or if you want to go out far, go for a high proxy. High glide out of the proxy. I'm turning, and now look at my left joystick here. At this point, I'm thinking, okay, should I be pulling it down? You could give it the slightest little pull down. Remember how I said when you pull back on the joystick when you're gliding, it takes Spyro a moment to fully do the pullback animation in midair. You can actually press down on the joystick to make him drop a little bit, but not enough, just for a moment so that he doesn't do the full animation. So if you're too high here, you can actually do a slight down press here. And I'm cranking in, but I'm good with this height. And now I'm holding down already at this point. And notice how long it took for Spyro to crank his head up. So be ready for the preemptiveness of the pullback. I would say if you're practicing this, if you're not comfortable with this like type of movement here, just jump off of a small ledge anywhere in an open level and just practice your full hop, charge glide, pullback, and then let it go forward. The final thing I want to say is you let Spyro go forward again. No, look at my joystick. I'm barely holding down anymore, and I'm completely neutral at this point. And the reason why I do that is because Spyro pulls back, but you have to let the joystick come back, not all the way to neutral, but away from the back position in order to push him forward enough to get that flame far enough forward, not high enough, but far enough forward to hit Gnasty. And as for the height with the flame, make sure you flame earlier than you think. Sometimes your flame will get eaten by the ground here. Generally, it won't if you're not too high. If you're high enough that your flame gets eaten by the ground, that means you're probably going to get flopped by the edge anyways. So, you know, you just got to kind of slice Spyro's neck off with this one. You know what I mean? That's about it with the things to watch out for. And then the final thing to watch out for is that you center Spyro with the lava. I can't tell you how many times I've done this trick. Barely got all of these parts here, and then I wasn't facing the right. Notice, look at my joystick. I'm going back left here. If you're facing all the way out to the right or out to the left, Spyro will actually fly past the lava and not death abuse, triggering the credits anyways, making all of your effort for nothing. So that's everything about credit skip. This is probably the most technically advanced trick in the run, I would say. But oh my god, but I will venture to say that it is far from the most difficult trick. With enough practice, especially, like I said, if you're using a free McBoot memory card or an emulator with save states, this trick can easily be figured out in a few evenings. Just be patient with it. There's a lot of tricky tricks in Spyro, and this is one of them. But take it from me, you can get consistent with this. If you have a good attitude, you go for it. If you're just starting to run Spyro, you don't have to do this trick right away. You know, this trick saves about 3.5 minutes off of the first credits. So, you know, it's not something you need to do right away when you first start playing the game, but if you're serious about speedrunning this category, you have to learn this trick, basically. And it's not bad. Don't be a little baby. Just do it. Yeah, I'm serious. It's actually really fun. And one thing I want to say on the topic of this trick being hard at the end of the run, I know that's like can cause a lot of like of a rift for people wanting to casually have fun speedrunning. Oh, I don't want to do a hard trick at the end of the run. And I know I joke around about people being cowards and babies and stuff, but in all honesty, the reason this category is sick is because there's a constant uphill difficulty curve as you go through the run. The first few worlds, peacekeepers, artisans, you're just nailing shit. You're feeling all cool. Sunny skies, green grass, you're good. Then you start getting into magic crafters with all the supercharged strats and little bumps and stuff like this. And you got to barely catch these little things here and there. And it's like, oh, okay, well, I lost a bunch of time. Oh, a little wizard proxy. And then you get into peacemakers and the enemies start getting tougher. Do you guys see what I'm saying here? The run gets more intense as it goes on. And it's like this final trick right here is like the fucking cherry on the intensity cake. And I think my face right up there says it all in terms of you. If you're wondering whether you should learn this trick or not, or if you think you're ready for it, just look at this face right here. And just think about what I'm feeling right now. After years of doing this shit, it doesn't get old. It doesn't get old doing this shit. It's literally the most intense experience. And I say embrace it. You know, it's what makes it fun is going for these crazy huge time saves. And it's not impossibly random. There's no RNG here. There's a huge I would say if I were to throw a number out there, I would say I'm pretty much 90% consistent with this trick nowadays. It's very rare that I miss it now. So let that be. Hopefully that serves as some inspiration to some of you newer players out there who are on the fence about learning this trick. But overall, guys, that was Gnasty Gnorc here. I'm your fucking host, Deo, and thank you for watching this video. Once again, I know I got the up-close streamer cam here, but I appreciate you guys sticking it out with me for this week that I've been gone from streaming and playing this game. This category is more alive than it's ever been, and I really hope to see you on the other end of the leaderboards and on the Discord and all that. So if you're curious about stuff, feel free to drop me a line in the comments. Do whatever you want, introduce me to your mom or your girlfriend. I'd be happy to meet them. They seem like really nice, beautiful ladies. And besides that, stay cute, keep chugging, and keep loving each other. I will catch you guys next time. Peace.